Let me try that. That's probably better. You can probably hear me now. Hey, y'all, it's your girl Deborah from Let's Get Real About Mental Health. And today I thought that we would kind of bounce off what we talked about last week, which was childhood trauma, because it takes such a recovery process for that to happen to really start to start to heal from it. It's really hard. And I think that that's something we need to talk about, the next two steps that we're going to be taking. Um, but before we start today, I'd really like to impress upon you how important therapy is and how important being being your own advocate and being patient for yourself. You have to be patient with yourself because recovery does not happen overnight. It is a long, drawn out process that will take a long time. So please, that's one thing if I could just impress upon you while we start this before we start this conversation is please be patient with yourself. And there's a really other good reason that we should be patient with ourselves, and it's a meme I found on the internet, but it says the hardest prison to escape is your own mind. When we are taught these types of trauma responses as a child or even as an adult, when the trauma is so bad that it is ingrained in your head, it may be years and years before you can even begin to recognize I'm having a trauma response. So don't think that I am trying to push you ahead and say you need to do this. That's not the point of this. What the point of this is to give everyone an idea what could be the next step for therapy for you, and what could be, it could be something that's in the future, something to look forward to. And the first thing we're going to talk about, you guys, is we have to actually recognize our trauma response. That's the most important thing, because if you don't recognize what a trauma response is, you'll never know that you have to overcome it. And it's quite, it comes down to four simple things. The four, yeah, four. It's fight. So when you are put in the situation where you are going to be where you're triggered, we're going to say triggered, where you're triggered, your first initial response is absolutely to fight, because your adrenaline starts going, everything gets tensed up. That's what happens with your body. You start to um, really engage in the fight. The next thing is to flight, and this is one that I do a lot. You got to just leave. It's safest for me to just leave the situation. So that's flight. You have to leave, get out of the situation until you can face it on a more even kill. And there's nothing wrong with this, you guys. That's what's super important, is that there's nothing wrong with it at all. You just have to know how to present yourself in a way where other people are not to cause you any more harm. That's the point of what I'm trying, not to cause you any more harm. And I'm sorry, I see that I am a little bit low. Can you guys hear me okay? Hopefully that's a yes. Hi, student Dr. Ben. Hi, Aunt Jer. I think that's Jer. How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, so the next thing that we do is we freeze. And that's where we're actually absolutely incapable of doing anything. All we do is shut down and go into protection mode for ourselves. And for a lot of people, me included, that puts me to I'm just completely frozen in space. And the best thing I can do for myself is to say, I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. I need to get out of here. But I'm not quite capable of doing that yet. Um, thanks, Jared. Rhymes with fur. I got it. um, what you have to realize is when you come to that freeze point, okay, keep telling yourself, I'm safe. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. And when you get in your brain, you hear like, I'm okay, I can move, get the hell out of whatever situation has caused you to be here. Because you're obviously not in a point where you can be recovering from that. You have to just remove yourself from the situation where you can get yourself on even keel. Because at this point, you absolutely have to protect yourself whichever way you can. The trauma responses are real. They are physical. They cause physical consequences in our body, or I should say physical responses, not consequences, in our body. And for somebody to say, oh, you just have to get over it, or why are you reacting this way? You have no control over how you're reacting. This is something that's inbred in a memory that you have from your childhood or from your trauma. Now, the fourth thing that happens with a trauma response, this one is so ingrained and it has so much depth, okay, in the way that we live our lives. It's called the fawn response. And the fawn response actually affects us on a much deeper level. It's not the immediate level. What it affects us are high HR. What it affects us as is the way that we go about our daily lives and the way that we think about things. So, like with the fawn response, you actually do not form your own opinions. You don't trust them. You look at other people around you to tell you how you should respond to a situation or have a belief. You have difficulty identifying with your own feelings if you are alone. Okay. If I'm alone, I don't know how to feel about something because there's nobody to lead me. We feel like we have no identity. There's nothing here. Okay. We feel like we are going to we're going to disappear because we have no one to validate our existence. We become people pleasers. We want to make everybody happy and not upset the apple cart at all. And we'll do anything to stop the anger and the upsetting of the apple cart. At the first sign of anger or aggression, our immediate response is to appease the person who is angry or having those aggressive thoughts. Y'all, I don't know how this one right here sums up Deborah's life. Okay. I want to appease everyone. Please don't be bad. Please don't be angry. Let me see what I can do. I'll compromise myself in order to make the person who's angry or aggressive feel better or feel like they're in a better space. The other thing that we do in the fawn stage is we literally ignore our own belief systems. Okay. This is why, as a 52-year-old woman, I am barely beginning to crack what my belief system is. Okay. Because I had to appease and took on everybody else's belief systems around me. I was surrounded by a bunch of theists my whole life, and I'm now proud of myself to say that I'm agnostic, leaning towards atheism, because I just don't believe the way everyone around me believes. I need to find my own belief system and rein in my own belief system for myself. And that is such a journey. The other one is that this one has gotten me in trouble too. Absolutely trouble. You have outbursts towards perfect strangers. And what that is a buildup of trying to people please everybody in your life and trying to make everything better, but you're bottling everything up. And God forbid that, hey, Uncle Beck, God forbid some lady park too close to your car, because you're going to get out your car and go, damn, lady, do you have to park so close to my car? You could scratch it. Well, y'all, she's probably in the same yellow lines that you are, but you have a way to vent that anger and that repressed emotions that you've been feeling around everybody else because you're a people pleaser, and something silly. Like the worst one I ever had is like I was having a day, I dropped my groceries and I had a 10-minute rant. I swear, maybe a little less, but I screamed and yelled at the groceries bag for braking in the parking lot. That grocery bag is an inanimate object, y'all, but I looked like a raving freaking lunatic screaming and yelling at this grocery bag because I could not outlet my emotions anywhere, any other way. And HR, I'm like you. I perceive anger when there isn't even any anger there. People will say something, they're just giving me your opinion, and it is. I'm like, oh, are you mad at me? Oh, did I say something wrong? This is my go-to. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that my existence makes you uncomfortable. And I apologize for everything. Even if it's not my fault. I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And it's again, it's that fawn section of your trauma response, because when you get triggered, you're going to go through all of these again, and you get triggered enough and you start developing these habits. And these habits were developed as a response to the initial trauma. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed, no, HR, we're way too much alike. It's just going to have to happen. HR wanted me to get out of her head because everything she says, I'm like, oh, me too. We learn these responses during our traumas, and we're not in our trauma situation. I hope to God you're not in your trauma situation anymore. But if you're removed from your trauma situation, you have to relearn how to react to these things that are triggering, because it's not appropriate any longer for you to have to do this. And that's one of the big things that you have to deal with in therapy, is you have to learn how to change your reaction. Now, another thing that I saw on the internet, which I thought was interesting, and please, I hope I don't trigger anybody, but it absolutely clicked with me, is that control your emotions. Somebody telling you to control your emotions, like I'm saying, relearn how to respond. Controlling your emotions does not mean avoiding your emotions. You're not avoiding it. You're not saying I don't feel this way. It means that you have to feel your shit, understand your shit, but don't lose your shit. Okay? That is absolutely what we're going to talk about, is that's that trauma response, because when we have a trauma response, we lose our shit. At least I do. I mean, some other people might be a little bit better at it, but that is absolutely what I do. I'll get it faced with that trauma response. I get just heated and overwhelmed. And then after it happens, I go into the fawn stage where I feel bad. I beat myself up. I'm like, you're such an idiot, Deborah. Why did you react like that? You just made it 100 times worse. Okay, the first thing I need to do is stop that kind of thought process, because something triggered me. What triggered me? If you have a person who's in your life and they are in your life solid, cemented in, they need to learn that I have these traumas, I have these triggers, and how to high overprotective. I have that they have these triggers, and they need to learn a way to work with you in recovering from your trauma response and your recovery period. Because if, for me personally, anybody like squares up to me, I'm immediately terrified. And I'm like, Jesus, no. And I put my hands up and I kind of fall to the ground, because I don't know what to do. That just scares the crap out of me. The thing also is that when we have that response, we have to let people know, hey, okay, oh my God, if my husband sees me fall on the floor and go, oh God, no, please don't hit me, or please don't yell at me anymore, he knows he triggered me. And he's like, okay, hold up, let me back up about 6 feet and get down to her level and say, hey, Deb, what's going on? Where are you right now? Okay, we're safe. We're in a safe atmosphere. You're okay. What just happened? And that is key, you guys, when we are talking about recovering from trauma response or trying to tame our trauma response, is that you have to lean on loved ones. Now, let me stress loved ones, trusted loved ones that you are in your corner 100% for your recovery. Not the ones who are just going to, oh, yeah, I support her, whatever, but don't answer the phone when you call and say, I need help. Or like, I can't get back to you because I'm too busy, because it's too bad you need help, call somebody else. Those are not the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that are truly in your corner no matter what. No matter how many times you put them through the ringer because of your trauma response or your depression or any of that stuff that goes along with trauma. They're in your corner, and those are the people that you need to lean on. Not the sometimes, not the good time Charlies, the all the time I'm here. Okay, lost my train of thought because I was reading HR's HR. That's actually another common response that we do, because we're not comfortable expressing our anger in a way that actually makes it good for us, because we're people pleasers. So we'll hold all that crap inside. Absolutely. hold, push it down, push it down, push it down, push it down. And then again, like I was saying, the stranger parks too close to your car, or you stub your toe, and then it becomes like nuclear war because everything you've been feeling for the last few weeks or whatever comes just exploding out of you. And heaven help the people that are standing next to you, because it's going to be ugly. It's absolutely going to be ugly. I'm sorry, I'm reading another. Yes, and Aunt Jur, yeah, that absolutely is another form of the people pleasing thing. Because if you text somebody and you're like, hey, I need a shoulder, I need help, I need something, okay, I need something, and they don't get back to you for 8 hours. I'm like, they freaking hate me. They hate my guts. I'm not important to them. I'm not on their radar of importance. When in actuality, it could be they're at work all day and they have a job like I do, where you can't have your phone with you. You cannot be answering personal phone calls and stuff like that. So something I've learned to do with that, Jur, is I've learned to, I sound like I'm micromanaging myself, but I probably am. I've actually written down the people who I are my trusted circle. I write down their schedules so I know who I should get a hold of. And the one person without fail that will answer me no matter what is my sister. And we have a code. If I enter the code, and then we don't do 911, because that could mean a serious, like, I'm calling an ambulance or whatever. We just I put in brown bread, and I'm like, brown bread. And she calls me back, or she texts me back immediately. Okay, I'm right in the middle of this. This is what I'm doing. Can I call you back in 30 minutes? And just that little response, that like 1.4 seconds that it took her to respond to me, makes a huge difference in the way that I feel towards the whole situation there. But you have to get people who are in your circle, and it's a lot of work, but that work was worth it to me, because now I know that they love me. It may take them a little while to respond to me, but it makes me able to share what I was going through, even when they do respond. So I think that that's important, that if you could do that for yourself, that's what my advice would be, to set up that schedule and look at it and see what you can do. And like I said, you guys, the theme of the day is be patient with yourself. Be absolutely patient, because this does not happen overnight. It will never happen overnight. I mean, I've been in therapy for years and years, and I finally feel like I'm coming out on the other end of it, where I've made these big changes and my life is getting smoother. And I might not need to see every therapist, because I have 3, every week. Sometimes I can go 2 weeks without seeing my PTSD therapist, or, my general therapist. So it's definitely something that we need to prioritize, and prioritize ourselves means a lot of work. So the other thing that so we started with lean on a loved ones. The next thing you have to do is you have to face your feelings. Easier said than done, y'all. Easier said than done. Because I think you all know that there are days when you wake up and you've had a nightmare and you're like, oh my God, this day is going to be shit. Just from the beginning. HR, you have me, so you can come talk to me anytime if that helps you out. I will be here for you. Yeah, you have to face your feelings. It's okay to feel rotten. It's okay to be depressed. It's okay to be anxious. All of those feelings, they are totally and completely okay. But what you choose to do with them is where you're going to be. Hey, Sadie, where you're going to be on your recovery scale. And I'm not saying go out and try all this by yourself. Get with a therapist and set up a schedule to see what will work the best for you in your recovery space. But face your feelings. Okay. Like today, example, you guys all know me. I work with autistic children. And today I about pulled my hair out. Okay. It was like a 4-beer day when I got home from work. That's how bad it was. Because there was something going on with him that he could not tell me. He could not express his emotions. And I'm sitting here going, oh my God, child, why won't you sit still? Why are you being so ramped up and throwing things? And I finally sat down on the floor and I just looked at him. I said, buddy, what's wrong? What's wrong, buddy? And he's like, hi, Marie. He says to me, he's like, Pippin said, oops, I did not just use his name. That would totally be a HIPAA violation. You guys did not hear it. Ben said, sad. I'm like, oh, why are you sad? And we were able to at least start that conversation with him. So we have to face those feelings. My feelings of frustration and just overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed. I started the negative self-talk. I'm not good at my job. What am I doing here? I'm not doing this kid any good. They should have hired somebody who knew what the hell they were doing. Having a sympathetic heart and being a healer is not enough for this job. I'm not doing this kid any good. And when I got home and I started talking to everybody, I'm like, oh my God, just like, it's just like, how do you, Deborah? And I sat down, I talked to my husband and I said, God, I can't. Why did I do that? Why did I go to negative self-talk? And he's just like, well, maybe because you needed to hear, you're doing amazing. I'm seeing such a change in you since you started this job. So I was able to sit down and actually just kind of like talk through it and face that. Okay, I went back on old habits instead of just staying positive. And in the moment with Ben, my client, I went negative into myself. So it was something that I was able to stop and look at once I got home and correct my thought process. So Yazin, I never get this right. So he wants to know, how do we adapt with our depression without therapy? You know what? I think therapy is an absolute must. I do. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not a therapist, but I've never been successful in overcoming anything that has to do with my therapy or my anxiety or anything like that without a therapist. Now, I'm also of the opinion that you can have therapy and it's not going to be licensed. They're not going to be professional. But if you have someone like a best friend, okay, and you're super tight with them, you can start talking to them about what's going on with your life. And that person knows you well enough that you can start working out a plan or feeling better, feeling like you're heard, which is a big thing for depression and anxiety people. We have to feel like we're being heard. We have to have validation of what's going on up here. Okay. It may not be what everybody else is feeling, but right now, right here, I'm feeling that. And I think that is absolutely somewhere to start. It is, if you can't afford therapy or you don't have therapy or it's not available to you, then get a trusted, and I mean trusted, y'all, because you're going to be spilling some stuff you don't want the world to know. Okay. And make sure that they're trusted enough, and you just start talking and saying, this is what I need. And you can always return the favor, like you talk for a little bit and then they talk for a little bit, and don't dismiss how much a good conversation with your best friend how much it can make you feel. You know what I'm saying? Sadie. Oh, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, Sadie, about the gut brain connection, but I absolutely 100% believe in it as well. It absolutely. Okay, let's go to the next point because I kind of went on a ramble there. So the other thing, it's important in any stage. I don't care where you're at. I don't care what stage of therapy, what stage of recovery, any of that. You have to start prioritizing yourself. You absolutely 100% have to prioritize yourself, because you know what? We will put ourselves last every damn time. Every time, you guys. So we have to start prioritizing ourselves, and that means positive self-care. And that we'll get into that a little bit in a little bit here. But if you, like I've talked about in earlier podcast, you have to give yourself the wins. Give yourself the wins. Okay. You got out of bed, you took a shower, even though all you want to do is pull the covers back over it. Those are wins. And start acknowledging your wins so you can start seeing, hey, you know what? I'm making progress. I'm going to start with the little wins. You're going to start, you're going to start prioritizing yourself at a higher level. I'm sure you all can tell, or maybe not, but my gray is showing through, right? So I told myself this weekend, I'm going to re-dye my hair. And that is a reward for me. That is part of my self-care, is to put the red back in my hair, because it makes me feel sassy. It makes me feel more beautiful. having my red hair, not my gray hair, makes me want to put my makeup up and look all snazzy. And that's good. It gives you the ability to feel better about yourself, feel more confident in yourself. And that is a step in removing yourself from the trauma. Okay. And, like I'm sure Uncle Beck will tell you, I'm a big fat flirt. Okay. 6 months ago, I would have never had the ability or confidence to say anything like I flirt with him because I think he's a good looking man. I'm like, oh, that's a good looking man. I told him that. That is absolutely not something I would have done 6 months ago. But because I've started practicing prioritizing myself, and I'm starting to feel back into my own. I'm feeling my confidence. I'm feeling strong as a woman. And I feel pretty and I feel beautiful. And I feel like that's something that I could do and not be wrecked by him saying, oh, that's nice, we're friends, I don't find you attractive. So I was able to put that self up there, and that's a huge win for me. Absolutely huge win. And again, the last thing with overcoming your trauma stuff, okay, is you have to be patient. I cannot stress that enough. Patience, 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 patience. Every day is a new day, and every day, like I used to say, every day is a new battle. Well, no, not every day is a battle for me anymore. Every day is a new day, and it gives me another chance at doing something a little bit more for myself, or doing something that is not as reactive to a negative emotion, taking the time to step back and say, whoa, 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 I can't be involved with this. This is not safe for me. I need to remove myself from the situation. And as some of you will know, and you'll agree with me, is that being able to even identify, ooh, this is a bad place for me to be, is a step in overcoming and recovering from your trauma. It really is, because you now have the ability to say, I'm done. I'm walking away. Nothing you have to say to me further is going to do any good. And, I have one friend where I literally have to plug my ears when I'm walking away, and I remove myself from the situation because they were yelling at me. I'm like, I can't hear it. I can't hear it. I will cave and go back and try to please that person. And I just can't. It wasn't safe. It wasn't emotionally safe for me to be there. And one of the biggest thing that they bring up when you're recovering from your trauma, and talked about all those things that we have, is mindfulness. You have to be mindful of the situation that you are in and make the decisions from here. Okay. From here, without the trauma response. And you guys are all probably going, oh my God, Deborah, easier said than done. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is absolutely 100% easier said than done. But today is the day that you start. And if you start today, then 6 months from now, you look back and go, oh, look at me. I've recovered. I am taking charge of my own responses, my own emotional health. And HR, I'm absolutely in agreement with you. It's taken me a very long time to get where I'm at, and I still struggle on a daily. I do. So it'll be 5-10 minutes and I'll start to get that bluesy feeling. And I'm like, I'm thinking, oh, I'm like, no. Crank up the music, do whatever you need to do, Deborah, to get yourself in a bit of better place, which is practicing your self-love and your self-care. So yeah, just be mindful of the situations and how you can control it. Even a little change. So, like you're having an argument and it's getting to the point where you're feeling triggered and you're like, I have to be done, and walk away. You're protecting yourself. That is one of the first changes in self-care. Okay. If you go to the supermarket and you see this woman every time and she just triggers you, change the time you go to the supermarket. It seems simple, right? It seems absolutely simple, but that's us taking back our power from the abusers and from the trauma. Okay, so the other thing, this is the biggest part of recovering from your trauma, and it is prioritizing yourself. So self-care. Self-care is hard as heck to start. It really is, because we get stuck in that fawn phase where we're like people pleasing everybody and everybody else takes priority over yourself. Those of us who are moms or single parents, that is a natural state for us because we put everybody, our children, ahead of us. Our children get everything ahead of us and we will take the leftovers. That's normal. Okay. But it's not healthy. You have to set aside time for yourself, even if it means taking a bath. which all of you with young children are laughing hysterically at me right now. But how about going to the bathroom without a toddler in the bathroom with you? Okay. That's a self win. That's a self love. If they sit outside the door and you give them a book to read, but you get 5 minutes of alone time, that's practicing self love. That's practicing self care. Okay. Yeah, my dog does the same thing, Sadie. He has to be in the bathroom with me. I'm like, God, go away, please. So there are several steps to self care. And the first one is keeping your stress in check. Again, easier said than done. But you have to start recognizing when you're putting yourself in when you're in a stressful situation, because stress triggers off all the other things that start breaking down our body's immune system. And we start to feel the effects of our trauma and our emotional and our mental health issues physically. Okay. And what I mean by stress relief and stuff is like, because, when you get stressed out, you do a lot of things. You eat like crap. You survive on sugar and caffeine. You don't sleep. Okay. All of those right there are things that you need to do for self-care. You don't exercise because you just go home, you go to work, you come home, you go to bed. Okay. Exercise again is something for self-care. And it is the starting point has to be stress relief. So how do you get stress relief? Me personally, I do the deep breathing. I know some people who do the stress balls. So while they thinking they are doing the stress balls, clicking pens, I've seen that. I don't know what to tell you the answer is because I don't have one for everybody out there. I know what's for me is I have to remove myself from the situation, take a deep breath, calm down, and then I can go back into the situation. But if I don't do that, I let the emotions build up and I react in a way that unfortunately has cost me a job in the past because I was so fed up with them and they would not listen. They were standing there just to talk. They weren't listening to what I had to say. They were just waiting for their turn to talk to me again. And I was like, I can't. So, you guys can give me some ideas what you do for stress relief to keep it on a minimum. If I'm going to be brutally honest, and that's the whole point of this podcast is sometimes I drink for stress relief. It's probably not, no, I'm going to say it is not the healthiest thing to do. Meditation is a great idea. I like that. I also like the dancing around to a song you like turned up really loud. Oh, yes, sir. I'm right there with you. Absolutely. Again, drinking, we do it. It's probably not the best answer. In fact, I know it's not the best answer, but we can always do it in moderation. Like you can see it right over my shoulder. You can see the tall boy waiting for me when this podcast is done. But I only have 2 a day and that's it. That's all I'm allowed to have. We have some great suggestions here, you guys. Singing, making art. Oh God. HR, I want you to come to my house. HR says that she considers even regular household work to be a workout sometimes, so she does it. I love that. Please come to my house and work out anytime you want. I would really actually like that. But you see what she's doing there? She's taking something to de-stress herself and she's making it a win because she's de-stressing herself through the workout, but yet she gets her house clean or whatever she's cleaning. So it's a win twice. That's a great way to look at that. It's 2 wins for the day. So you got out of bed, you cleaned your house, you got your workout. That's 3 wins right off the bat. And if you took a shower, it's 4. So it's so, again, putting music on and drawing, those are all excellent ideas. I am not a person who can draw. I don't have a lot of artistic talent as far as like traditional art is concerned. You can see the stuff behind me. All of that is my art. It's stuff that I've done. And that helps me with my stress relief. Sleep is a beautiful thing, Aunt Jer. Beautiful thing. Oh, I could sleep 9-10 hours a night if I let myself. But also be aware that sleeping too much can be detrimental because when we slide into that really bad depression state, that's all we do is put your head down and put your head down and just sleep and ignore the world. Okay. So the next step of our stress relief, our self-care is nutrition. We should eat healthy or healthy-ish. I'm not telling you go vegan, don't eat any meat anymore, never have any sugar. No, I'm not telling you that. because it's not my place to tell you what works for you. What I am telling you to do is be a little more mindful of what you're putting into your body. If you want to, you have a big day and you're busy and you're like, I'm just getting some pizza and drink some beer tonight. Would it be maybe a better idea to maybe eat a salad with maybe one glass of wine, so you know when you wake up, you're going to feel ready to go for that day? Again, it falls back to mindfulness. You have to be aware of what's going on so that you can prepare your body with nutritional, and that's fuel. That's fuel for your body. The next one is sleep. We must get our regular amount of sleep. Long past are the days where I used to go on 3 and 4 hours sleep a day, and I used to do it on a regular. But all that got me was physically ill and emotionally just spent. It just did not work out for me. So now I absolutely make sure that I get my 8 hours sleep, or I'm in bed to get my 8 hours sleep. I'm a terrible sleeper, so it's not something that I do really easily. It takes me 30, 40 minutes and about 20,000 flips and turns before I can actually start to fall asleep. But I made it a priority in my life. Connection. Oh boy. This one is so hard for me, you guys. And I'm sure some of you feel the same way. It's like, we have to have a personal connection. We absolutely have to. Whether it's online, which I am very lucky to have a really good online group of friends where I can feel validated and people listen to me, and obviously you guys are coming here to listen to me. So it's definitely, that's a connection that'll work. However, we can't just be online. We have to have a physical connection, because as human beings, we actually will start to wither if we don't get the physical contact of another human being. I know, cut off the subject, but that was one of the main things that we saw in memory care units when we had the pandemic, is that they were literally withering up and dying because we were not allowed to hug them. Their families couldn't get in. They did not get that connection that they need to other people. It is very, very important. And if you don't have a physical, like a person in your life, I suggest you get a support pet, because they actually help a whole lot. The other thing is physical activity. Now, for me, I have a really bad back, so I'm not allowed to do a whole lot of physical activities. And I absolutely 100% have to sit out in the sun for 15 minutes a day. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That I have to do. I have a chronically low vitamin D level, and sitting out in the sun with my eyes closed, I put my music on and I just relax. And it may sound weird, but I swear I can feel the stress melting off of me. And I just push it into the ground, or whatever I have to do, kind of like a meditation, just to give myself that pickup. Because you work all day, you get home, you're like, oh gosh. Well, that's what I did. When I got home, came in, talked to my husband, went downstairs, sat in the sun, listened to music. I'm like, 15 minutes later, I'm like, yes, 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 that works. That absolutely works for me, because I feel revived. It's 7:30 here, and I worked a full day, and I'm getting on the live stream to put this out. So that's what makes me feel better. For some people, they may need to go for a walk, go for a run. You may need to shoot baskets. You may be a disc golf player. Whatever it is you need, make it a priority. Okay. Well, Aunt Jura, I've seen some people put their cats on leashes, so you could probably try that with your cat and take them for a walk, maybe. But don't play off the cat. The cat will give you so much comfort, and I know my emotional support dogs gives me a lot of comfort, and that I am able to work through situations a lot faster because I have him. Okay, we have to be kind to ourselves. Be kind, be kind, be kind. Because we are, like I said earlier, the hardest jail to escape from is our minds. And if we're in that fawn set of recovering from trauma, we think we're worthless. We think that we are a waste. We think that our perpetrator was right, that nobody's going to believe me, nobody's going to love me, that all that gets ingrained in your mind. And in order to Sorry. In order to overcome that, we have to start being kind to ourselves. And a great way to start, you guys, is affirmations every morning. Again, I don't want to sound all woo woo, but affirmations are strong. They are, and you start to believe them. I look at myself in the mirror, with my hair going 6 ways to Sunday. I just got out of bed. I'm like, oh God, the look, sorry, half-mast eyes. You're like, God, I need some coffee. But I do those affirmations every day. I am a strong woman. I am valuable, and I am valued. And for me, that really helps me. What was that, HR? I'm sorry, I'm trying to read this. Oh, honey. Oh, I've done something similar, but then I think about 2 years later, I burnt that sucker because I was like, no, I don't need this negative crap in my life anymore. And that actually hurts my heart. Now you need to get out of my head, HR, because that is totally something I did and needed to do. Anyway, going back to being kind, do those affirmations. Find whatever you need to say to yourself. You'll know where you're lacking. I'm not privy to that information for you guys, but a thing with me is that I've never felt beautiful in my entire life. Never. Until I got into the married. Well, let me take that back. Up until 21 years ago, I never felt beautiful in my entire life. Not once. People will go, oh, you're beautiful. I'm like, they're just saying that. They want something from me. My husband, saying that he finds me attractive, and I've had a weight problem most of my adult life. I'm like, he's just saying that because he wants some, whatever. Those are the kind of things that I truly go through my head still today. So for me, being kind to myself is actually putting forth the effort to do my hair and do my makeup. And when I look at myself, I'm like, look at that beautiful girl. Look at that beautiful girl. And I say girl for a reason, because it started back when I was a little girl. I was told even back then I was fat, I was this, I was that, whatever. My dad would tell me I resemble my mom, but there was always a negative thought process on that. And you know what? He's right. I do resemble my mom. But it, for me, that's what I say. Look at that beautiful girl. Look what a beautiful woman she turned into. Look at that strong, beautiful woman. And that's the stuff I have to say to myself every stinking day, because it doesn't go away. Every day I do that to myself, because I am worth it. I am worth the time that I'm putting forward for myself. So yes, and you struggle with self-love. Yeah, it is. It's really hard to get going with that. But you know what, dude? If you start with, and I hope I just said that right, dude, even if it starts with what you pick out to wear today and it matches, you're like, look at this, look at me, I'm matching. You have to start with very little things, because coming from a place of complete and total negativity is to reverse it, it's very little things have to start. You got to start with a pebble or a small snowball and roll it downhill to hopefully get a bigger snowball. And that's the advice I would give you. Just start with something really good. If you made a good choice about dinner tonight, congratulate yourself and say, you know what, you did good today. If you drank your water today, congratulate yourself on drinking your water. That would be my suggestion. HR, I struggle with that as well. My one of my parental figures that I resemble is the primary cause of most of my trauma. And I hate being told that I look like her, but there's absolutely no denying it. I actually do look a whole lot like her, but what I tell myself is I'm nothing like her. I was a good mom. I was there for my children. I made sure all three of my children knew that they would be loved no matter what they did with their lives. Their mama would love them no matter what. I am not bitter anymore. I'm not jaded, and I didn't turn. This is a big thing for me, is that I did not turn my children against their fathers just to make myself look better. Because to me, telling your kid your dad's wrong, your dad's bad, your dad's this, you're telling your child that half of them is bad or wrong. And I would never do that. I took the high road through all of that. So, looking like him is superficial as genetics, and there's nothing we can do about it. unless you want to dye your hair purple or something, if that helps. I tried it, it didn't help. But being like them and looking like them are two totally different things. And that's where I had to start acknowledging the differences between my parental figure and myself. Okay, so the next one, nobody scoff at me here, is spirituality. You have to find your spirituality. Now, by spirituality, what I am talking about is being aware of your own existence. What works for you, okay? Being a theist no longer works for me. Okay, I had to find another way of thinking and start engaging it to find myself and to be comfortable in my skin and being Deborah. That's what I mean by spirituality. Find what you are comfortable with, okay? Find it. If it's, you know what, you guys, I'm trying to think of such a right way to say this. I think I'm making it more complicated than it needs to be. If you need to believe that the higher power is your doorknob, then believe the higher power is your doorknob, as long as it gives you strength. Okay. If you have to believe that the higher power, there's a God out there, then believe it. Okay. I won't criticize anyone's spiritual beliefs. Okay. If you find strength in them and you do no harm to another human being with words, thoughts, or actions, I'm down. I will support you 100%. Okay. But you don't get to be cruel. That's the thing that I have the problem with, is people who are cruel because your belief system is different than mine. You don't know anything about me. Okay. So I found my spirituality and my awareness of my existence is that I honestly believe that, this is it, and if there is anything else out there, I guess I'll find out when I die, because I just don't think there is anymore. I think this planet, maybe that's what we should be taking care of and worshiping, or not worshiping, but regarding as Mother Nature, we should be putting more care into the earth so that we can take care of our fellow man. I will tell you that I'm a humanist. That absolutely is where I stand 100%. I think we need to take care of each other. And that starts with taking care of yourself. HR, that's really funny. I dyed mine purple and then turquoise, and it didn't work at all. I still look like her, damn it. Oops, I said her. Woo. Okay, so hopefully that makes a lot of sense to you guys. So just remember, we're talking about trauma response and how to respond and recovering from your trauma response. It's all about being true to you, okay? Being kind to yourself, being patient with yourself, okay? And giving yourself permission to feel what you're going to feel, but being accountable if you lose your shit, okay? So back to that saying, controlling your emotions does not mean avoiding your emotions. It means that you feel your shit, you understand your shit, but you don't lose your shit. Because every time, I look at it this way, you guys, every time I lose my crap because my PTSD is up in arms or whatever it is, and that every time I lose my crap, I give power back to my person who traumatized me. I give them back power. And I don't know about y'all, but I'll be damned if they're going to take any more power from me than they already have for the entire previous part of my life. I'm not going to stand there and be that person anymore. Now, it's great for me to sit here and say, I am woman, hear me roar. There are days when Deborah's meek again and Deborah's shy and doesn't know how to handle things and is just back to being a people pleaser. But as soon as I recognize it, I correct myself and say, no more. Please yourself before you have to please yourself and take care of yourself before you have the strength to take care of anybody else. And that is part of removing your trauma response, is that you have to be aware of self-love. Yes, I agree, Yazin. Spread love, let it go. That's right. Exactly. Yeah. That's a rough one. We're gonna have to work on your self-love and how to get you talking to yourself a little better, because you'll find that honestly, once you start that process, it really does making sharing positive thinking or sharing sharing positive thinking, sharing positive thoughts. It makes it so much easier. Excuse me again. Damn allergies. It's not COVID, I swear. Hi, Jenna. And again, you can't, yeah, back to what you're saying, Yasin, you can't spread love or give good thoughts to other people if you're not giving them to yourself. Okay. And that is absolutely just the gosh honest truth. You just can't. Because if you hate everything about yourself, then all you're going to betray to the world is hatred. Okay. If you love yourself and you're starting to accept yourself and you're believing in yourself, you're going to put off all of those vibes for the rest of the world to see. And my hope with this, and I feel like I might have started to achieve this when I talked to HR and I talked to Yasin, I want you to be able to come here and talk and spread that stuff out because it's safe here. It is absolutely safe here. I will never say anything about anything. Anybody watching this live stream is here in the comments, and we're all a safe community. And I just hope that everybody knows that we are totally a safe community and that helping each other out is truly what we want to do here. Okay, now I'm kind of embarrassed. I have to tell you, I went back to Meek Deborah there for a second because I just realized Uncle Beck is still in the chat, and I said he was good looking, and I flirted with him. Oops. Oh well. Anyway, oh God, I just turned like 15 shades of red. So, is there any questions you guys want me to address? Anything I can help you guys with tonight? I will be happy to do that. And oh, by the way, really quick, super huge shout out to student Dr. Ben. I hear he passed his boards. So right on. Good job, Ben. I'm so proud of you. I can't tell you. Anyway, so is there anything else? Anybody got anything we should talk? He is good looking. Thank you, Sadie. I appreciate that. Is there anything else you guys want to talk about tonight? Going to get off your chest? Anything? I'm open. Oh, you've had about enough of me, I see. Oh, that's it, Ben? That only 2 more exams? When are those? He is fucking awesome, Beck. He absolutely is. Who was it? Yasin, is there anything that we can help you with? Anything you want to talk about tonight? Please just speak up and we can address some issues. Right on. Well, just remember, let us know ahead of time, student Dr. Ben, because I'm buying a ticket to your graduation. How about you, HR? Is there anything else that you want to talk about, touch on? I mean, I can kind of just dig in my head, HR, and pull a subject out and, see how we do with that. Okay. The first 2 minutes, like recapping the trauma. The first couple of minutes, I think what I really did was I talked about the hardest prison to escape from is your own mind, because you have the trauma response is so ingrained with you with such a horrible experience, and for some of us at a very young age. So that's all we learned. So I talked about that and talked about the the first couple of things about your trauma response is, your trauma response is flight. We'll go over it really quick. Fight. That's when your whole body just kind of feel like your adrenaline's coursing. You're ready to just throw down if you're capable. Then we do flight. We just have to get out of there. We freeze. And freezing is a dangerous place for us as people with trauma issues, because we literally are shut down to the point where we cannot move. And then fawning. Fawning is the one that takes us over like a lifetime to unlearn this stuff. HR, I did not see your interview with Neil this past weekend. I wonder if I can rewatch that. I would love to rewatch that. Oh God, Sadie, I'm sorry. Did you take some Benadryl? I see you had to go dark for a couple, like 24 hours you did. Are you feeling better now? I hope you are. I know it's a very tough talk for me to give also. Like I went upstairs literally and was just in tears because I was thinking about all the crap that I had been through. And I shared some trauma that I had not shared with a whole lot of people. I think my sister's the only one that knows about the stuff that happened with my first husband and I. And Oh, I'm so sorry, Sadie. I'm sorry that you're like that small percentage of the population that is allergic to Benadryl. That makes life very difficult. I'm glad you're feeling better. Like I said, it's now I lost my train of thought completely. All right, y'all. Well, in that case, I'm going to wrap this up so I don't keep you too much longer. We're pretty close to an hour. Again, I really, really appreciate you guys jumping on and joining me for these talks. It's doing me a lot of good, and I hope that it's doing you guys some good too. If you like what's going on, please refer some friends to come in, subscribe, and please come and watch. And I just appreciate you spreading the word. HR, yeah, last week was a little bit rough. It really was. But again, I'm glad you're doing a whole lot better. All right, I love y'all and have a wonderful night. And hopefully I will see Uncle Beck. Are you doing trivia on Friday, or do we have to go through withdrawals? Because that would be bad. Jenna, yeah, I usually try to do it around the 7 o'clock hour on Wednesday or Thursday, but Thursday seems to be working out pretty good. But all right, y'all, have a good night. Stay safe and be kind and be patient with yourself. Excellent, Uncle Beck. Thanks for that. See you later.